There is always that one guy at the cookout who knows everything about Chevys. He will tell you the LS engine cannot be killed. He will tell you Dexcool is poison. He will tell you the new transmissions are junk, and you should sell your truck before it blows up. The problem is, he is wrong about half of it. And the half he is wrong about could cost you a couple $1,000s or kill a perfectly good truck. I see these come up in the comments on almost every video I post, so today we are settling 13 of them. Number 1, you need to warm up your Chevy for 10 minutes before driving. I still see people doing this every single winter. They go out, start the truck, walk back inside, drink their coffee, and come back out 10 minutes later like they just did the engine a huge favor. Meanwhile, the engine is sitting there burning gas and going absolutely nowhere, which is basically what my wife does with my credit card. And I get it. Your dad probably did it, and his dad probably did it. The thing is, they were right. Back when engines had carburetors, the choke needed time to warm up so the air and fuel would mix properly. That advice made sense in the 70s. It does not make sense for anything fuel injected, which covers every Chevy made after about 1985. AAA says modern engines are fully lubricated within 20 to 30 seconds. Consumer Reports backs that up. After about 30 seconds to a minute, your engine is ready. The fastest way to warm up your engine is to just put it in drive and go easy for the first couple of minutes. All that extra idling does is waste gas, put wear on components, and build up carbon in the combustion chamber. The only reason to let it idle is if you need the windshield to defrost. Otherwise, start it, give it 30 seconds, and go. And speaking of maintenance advice your dad gave you, this next one might be costing you even more. Number 2, you need to change the oil every 3,000 miles. This one drives me crazy because it costs people real money for no reason. The 3,000-mile interval came from 1968, when vehicles used conventional oil in carbureted engines. It was solid advice back then. Today, General Motors builds every vehicle with an oil life monitor system that is a lot smarter than people give it credit for. It is not just a mileage counter. It tracks engine RPM, coolant temperature, ambient temperature, idle time, and fuel injector data across 3 different calculation pathways. Since 2013, the system caps at 7,500 miles, and the oil life will drop to 0 after 1 year regardless. Real-world intervals typically fall between 5,000 and 6,500 miles for mixed driving. Blackstone Labs oil analysis users consistently find the oil life monitor is actually conservative, meaning there is still life left in the oil when the light comes on. One thing the oil life monitor cannot do is measure oil level, so check your dipstick at every fill-up. But if you are still changing oil every 3,000 miles on a modern Chevy running Dexos approved synthetic, you are throwing away about $100 a year for nothing. Number 3, you should put premium fuel in your Chevy for better performance. Premium fuel is not necessary for most Chevys. I have had customers tell me they put premium in their Equinox because they want to treat the engine right. I appreciate the thought, but all they are doing is treating the gas station's cash register right. If your Chevy calls for 87 octane regular, premium does absolutely nothing for it. No extra power, no better mileage, no engine protection. You are just paying 40 to 60 cents more per gallon for a placebo. Now here is where it gets tricky. The 6.2-liter V8 in the Silverado and Tahoe recommends premium. Using regular is safe because the engine computer pulls timing to prevent knock, but you do lose some horsepower and, ironically, sometimes get worse fuel economy, which means the cheaper gas ends up costing you more per mile. Now, the Corvette and the Camaro ZL1 with the supercharged LT4 flat out require premium. Using regular in those is asking for trouble. So know your engine, read the fuel door sticker, and stop wasting money if it says 87. But wasting money on fuel is one thing. This next myth has people walking away from perfectly good Chevy engines. Number 4, Chevy's turbo 4 cylinders are unreliable junk. The 1.4 turbo in the Cruze and the 1.5 turbo in the Equinox get trashed online constantly, and I understand why. The first generation 1.4 had some issues that were annoying and visible. The positive crankcase ventilation system is built into the valve cover, and that valve cover fails regularly enough that Cruze forums basically consider it a scheduled maintenance item. The water pump was bad enough that GM extended the warranty to 10 years and 150,000 miles. And the turbo wastegate spring weakens over time, throwing low boost codes. Those are all real problems. But here is what the forums never mention. The engine block itself is solid. Cruze owners on forums are reporting 200,000 miles and beyond on the original bottom end. The 1.5 turbo in the Equinox has carbon buildup from direct injection and some intercooler issues in cold climates. But owners are getting 200,000 miles or more out of those too. These engines are not junk. These Ecotech engines are just needy in specific, predictable, and pretty affordable ways. Stay on top of the valve cover and coolant system on the 1.4, use good oil on shorter intervals on the 1.5, and they will run. Number 5. The Chevy Cruze is unreliable. This one usually comes from people who heard about the Consumer Reports score and never actually looked at the real data. RepairPal gives the Cruze a 4 out of 5 for reliability, with average annual repair costs of $545. That is barely above the $530 compact car average. The average Cruze owner visits the shop less than once every 2 years for something unexpected. That is not a junk car by any measure. The catch is that not every Cruze is the same. 2011 was the first year, and it had cooling system problems right out of the gate. 2014 has the most complaints, with head gasket, electrical, and steering issues. Those early years deserve their reputation, but the 2016 through 2019 models are a different story. The second generation cleaned up the cooling problems, refined the 1.4 turbo, and those cars are solid used buys right now. I personally think the 2017 and 2018 Cruze models are among the most underrated used cars on the market right now. If you are shopping for a Cruze, just skip the first generation and you will be fine. But even if you buy the right Chevy, there is one maintenance myth that kills transmissions faster than just about anything. Number 6. You never need to change the transmission fluid because it is sealed for life. I hear this one at least once a week, and it makes me wince every time. A lot of newer Chevys do not have a transmission dipstick, and some owners' manuals skip the fluid change interval entirely. So people assume it means the fluid lasts forever, and it absolutely does not. Lifetime fill is marketing language. What it really means is the fluid is designed to last for the expected warranty period of the transmission. After that, your transmission is on borrowed time. The actual recommendation for most General Motors automatics is a fluid swap every 30,000 to 60,000 miles, depending on driving conditions. If you tow with your Silverado, drop that to every 20,000 miles. The 8-speed transmission's entire shudder epidemic is partly a fluid issue. General Motors had to reformulate the fluid specifically to deal with it. A drain and refill with the correct Mobil 1 synthetic fluid that General Motors specifies for it every 30 to 50,000 miles is the cheapest insurance you will ever buy against a $4,000 transmission repair. Number 7. Equinox oil consumption is totally normal. This one gets under my skin because dealers were the ones spreading it. I had a customer bring me her 2013 Equinox last year. She was adding a quart of oil every 2 weeks, and the dealer told her it was normal 3 separate times. That is not normal, and the dealers knew it. Owners of 2010 through 2017 Equinox and Terrain models with the 2.4-liter Ecotech engine were burning through a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. When they brought it to the dealer, they were told it was within normal parameters. They were put through a long, drawn-out oil consumption test and sent home. That was not normal. It was a manufacturing defect. The piston rings were not holding proper tension, letting oil blow past into the combustion chamber. The consequences were ugly: engine fires, unexpected shutdowns, fouled spark plugs, timing chain damage, and complete engine failure as early as 80,000 miles. General Motors ended up paying $42 million in a class action settlement for the 2010 through 2013 models. If you own a 2014 through 2017 model with the same engine, additional lawsuits are still in the works. If someone tells you a quart every 1,000 miles is fine, walk away from that advice immediately. It is a defect. And that is not even the only part of your Chevy that dealers have been giving you bad advice about. Number 8. The GM 8-speed and 10-speed transmissions are total junk. Now let me talk about these transmissions because the internet has completely lost its mind over them. The 8-speed had a real shudder problem starting in 2015. There was a class action, GM put out over 60 service bulletins, and the forums went nuclear. Here is what the panic crowd leaves out. That shudder is caused by torque converter clutch material breaking down, made worse by moisture in the fluid. GM's own fix was a full fluid exchange using a specific synthetic ATF, not the standard Dexron 6 that some shops were putting in. Using the wrong fluid actually causes the shudder. A proper flush with the right fluid resolves about 90% of cases. Cost is usually under $200. That is a long way from the total transmission replacement the internet convinced everyone they needed. The 10-speed is a different situation. There is a control valve that wears out and can cause the transmission to suddenly drop to second gear or lock the drive wheels. GM issued a recall covering over 461,000 vehicles in late 2024 and expanded it into 2026 with 15-year, 150,000-mile special coverage. That is a real issue, and GM is covering it. Neither transmission is junk. Both have specific documented problems with specific solutions. Get the right fluid in the 8-speed and check your VIN for the 10-speed recall. But the transmission is not even the scariest part hiding under the hood of a Chevy truck. Number 9. AFM and DFM cylinder deactivation will always destroy your engine. This is the big one. Active fuel management, or AFM, on the 5.3-liter and 6.2-liter V8 has a terrible reputation, and I am not going to pretend the concerns are imaginary. Collapsed lifters, stuck lifters, wiped camshafts. I have personally pulled apart engines with 20,000 miles that had lifter failures. General Motors acknowledged the problem in a service bulletin back in 2014. The aftermarket AFM delete industry is a multi-million-dollar business, which tells you how many people are worried about it. But here is where the myth goes too far. People say it is not a matter of if, it is when, and that is just not true. Plenty of these 5.3-liter Silverado engines go past 200,000 miles on the odometer with zero lifter problems. The failure rate is high enough to take seriously? Absolutely. Budget for it, watch for the ticking noise and catch it early if it happens. An electronic AFM disabler costing $150 to $300 will stop the deactivation from happening, which reduces the cycling that causes wear. If you ask me, that is one of the best $150 investments you can make on these trucks. Just know that the disabler does not replace the failure-prone AFM lifters already in the engine. If you want those gone, that is a full delete kit with new lifters and a camshaft, which costs $3,000 to $5,000. But walking away from a great truck just because it has AFM is overkill. Number 10. LS engines are bulletproof. I love the LS, and everybody else does too. The just throw an LS in it crowd has basically turned it into a religion at this point, and the reputation is earned. These engines are compact, parts are everywhere. A junkyard 5.3 will survive boost with basic supporting mods, and truck versions regularly hit 250 to 350,000 miles. That said, bulletproof is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. The stock oil pump cavitates above 6,000 RPM, which creates dangerous oil pressure loss if you are running it hard. The Generation 4 5.3 burns up to a quart every 1,500 to 2,000 miles because of low-tension piston rings and the active fuel management oil spray system. Piston slap on cold starts is common on the 4.8, 5.3, and 6.0 engines from 1999 onward. GM's official position is that it is not harmful, and that is not exactly reassuring. The LS7 in the C6Z06 drops valve seats, which can grenade the entire motor. The LS is an incredible engine family. It is also one where the specific variant matters a lot. An iron block 6.0 truck LS handles abuse beautifully. An LS7 is a different animal entirely, but there is one Chevy myth that combines the LS reputation with body-on-frame toughness into something even more dangerous to believe. Number 11. The Tahoe and Suburban run forever without major repairs. I get why people believe this. Body-on-frame construction, the same platform as the Silverado, and fleet vehicles that rack up huge miles. About 4% of Tahoes reach 200,000 miles, compared to less than 1% for the average SUV. That is impressive. But the idea that a truck runs forever and that it runs forever without spending money are two very different things. Active fuel management lifter failure hits every 2007 and newer model equipped with the 5.3-liter or 6.2-liter engine. That can cost $2,000 to $5,000. The 8-speed and 10-speed transmissions have documented problems we already discussed. Air conditioning. Condenser failure is one of the top complaints on 2015 to 2020 Tahoes. Fuel pump failure is notorious across all generations. Dashboard cracking is cosmetic but infuriating on 2007 to 2014 models. A realistic ownership picture means budgeting for active fuel management work, a potential transmission service, fuel pump replacement, and air conditioning repair over the truck's life. These are durable vehicles. They are also expensive to maintain when things go wrong. Go in with your eyes open and a maintenance fund set aside, and they will take care of you. Now, this next one is not about a part failing. It is about a lie that dealers use to keep you coming back. Number 12. Aftermarket parts void your Chevy warranty. This is one of those myths that dealers love because it keeps you coming back to them for every little thing. Federal law says otherwise. The Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act makes it illegal for a manufacturer to void your warranty just because you used aftermarket parts or had maintenance done at an independent shop. The burden of proof is on the dealer, not on you in the service department. They have to prove that the exact part you installed caused the exact problem you are claiming. They cannot just point at the aftermarket air filter under your hood and deny a transmission claim. You can change your own oil in the driveway, install your own brake pads, and take your truck to any qualified mechanic without voiding your warranty. If a dealer ever tries to deny a claim because of aftermarket parts, ask for the denial in writing and escalate to GM Corporate. The one area where this gets murky is performance modifications. A cold air intake and exhaust are generally fine. Once you flash a tune, you are in a gray area where the dealer has a much stronger argument that your modification contributed to the failure. But for routine maintenance and standard replacement parts, the law is on your side. And if all of that sounds like bad news, this last one is going to flip the script. Number 13. V8 trucks get terrible gas mileage. I saved this one for last because it surprises everybody. The reputation of the gas-guzzling V8 pickup comes from the 90s and the early 2000s, when 12 to 15 miles per gallon combined was the norm. Those days are long gone. The 2024 Silverado 1500 with the 5.3-liter V8 gets 16 miles per gallon city and 22 on the highway in two-wheel drive. That is only 1 to 2 miles per gallon behind the 2.7-liter turbo 4-cylinder option. Real-world numbers are even better. Silverado owners on forums consistently report 20 to 24 miles per gallon on the highway at 65 to 70 miles per hour. Dynamic fuel management on the 2019 and newer 5.3-liter engine can run on as few as 2 cylinders during light cruising, and General Motors testing showed it operated with fewer than 8 active cylinders more than 60% of the time. The 3.0-liter Duramax diesel option pushes that even further at 23 miles per gallon in the city and 29 on the highway. A modern VI 8.5-ton truck getting over 20 on the highway would have been unthinkable 15 years ago. Things have changed a lot. And that wraps up 13 Chevy myths that need to go away. Almost every one of these started with a grain of truth that got stretched and repeated until it stopped being useful. Now here is the thing, there is one Chevy model that everybody thinks is reliable, and the data says the opposite. I broke down which Chevys I would actually buy used and which ones I would run from in this video right here. You do not want to skip that one.